So have you ever had to think about standing in a bread line or paying $100 for a dozen of eggs? Probably not, and that's because we live in a capitalist system today. So what is capitalism? Well, if you didn't already know, the United States is run under capitalism. According to study.com, capitalism is the invisible hand of the market. So capitalism is basically based on two things. It's between the buyers and the sellers. The buyers are the people like you and I, people who have the freedom of choice under capitalism when we go into the store and want to buy something. And the sellers are the private and corporate owned companies. So in different social and economic systems around the world, a main rival to capitalism is socialism, and it's kind of gaining ground again in modern times. So in socialism, rather than having the private and corporate owned companies, the seller is the government. So everything is government regulated and government owned, which gives less power to the people. So in capitalism, you have your private sellers who work for a personal financial incentive, which gives you more freedom of choice and leads to better services. So since everything is privately owned, they have more of an incentive to make things a better quality. See, if they make things that are low quality and don't produce the best things that they can, then the buyers, whom are the people, won't buy from them and they will go out of business. So they have that drive to make their products good quality. Whereas in a socialist regime, it's owned by the government and they can do what they want, and the people, who are the buyers, don't really have a whole lot of choice. So the incentives of capitalism also cut costs and avoid waste, which doesn't usually happen in a socialist state. Another good thing about capitalism, actually another great thing about capitalism, is that it increases the standard of living. That's according to economics21.org. It increases the standard of living because everything is driven by the people. Even though the buyers are technically the people, it's still the people who are able to own businesses and run and regulate things and own corporate industries. Whereas in socialism, everything is government regulated, and they have pretty much everything is under government programs such as welfare, free health care, social security benefits. The issue with that is that under things like free health care and the Medicare, Medicaid, welfare, whatever, is that they focus on redistributing the wealth from the rich to the poorest to encourage equality. But the issue with equality is that it's not always fair to the people who have worked to get what they have. So a really popular example of a failed socialist state is Venezuela. And in Venezuela, about 6 million acres of land were actually unfairly stripped from their owners and given to the lower class to make everything equal. When in reality, those people on the upper class and the middle class who had worked for that just got it taken away because they were focused on equality for everyone. When in reality, it's not realistic. They had the utopian ideal that this was going to make everything fair, but it really just it doesn't make everything fair for the middle class and the upper class. It really just benefits the poor. So according to economicshelp.org, if in the capitalist system, if the businesses that are providing to the sellers, to the buyers, who are the people, do not produce adequate goods, then they will go out of business, which pushes them to make the best things that they can. And another thing with capitalism is that economic freedom encourages political freedom. So in socialism, if everything is controlled by the government, the chances are you're not going to have a whole lot of political freedom either. So capitalism really encourages personal freedom, and the economics really lay over to the political spectrum as well. So if you don't want to stand in a bread line and wait for hours for the one loaf of bread you can get for your family, then the capitalist economic system is probably the best one.